This week on Natak Radio, we take you to a mysterious cross-country trip across the United States, presenting Lucille Fletcher's The Hitchhiker, featuring Kartic Bhargav, Shelly Perrier Smith, and Edward Keyani. Sound design by Navi Viswanathan. Directed by Kartic Bhargav. Buckle up.
I'm in an auto camp on Route 66, just west of Gallup, New Mexico. If I tell it, perhaps it'll help me, keep me from going crazy. I have to tell this quickly. I'm not crazy now. I feel perfectly well, except that I'm running a slight temperature. My name is Vijay Shankar. I'm 36 years of age, unmarried, tall, dark with a black mustache. I drive a 1990 Toyota Camry license plate number 7XLP472. I was born in Bangalore and I moved to Brooklyn, New York in the early 80s for work. My mother joined me a few years later and we've been leading a quiet and peaceful life so far. All this, I know. I know that I'm at this moment perfectly sane, that it's not me who's gone mad, but something else. Something utterly beyond my control. I've got to speak quickly. At any minute this link might break. And this may be the last thing I ever tell on earth. The last night I ever see the stars. 6 days ago, I left Brooklyn to drive to California. Sarima, I'll start now. Yennamma, what is this? You promised me you wouldn't cry. It's just 2 months and I'll be back. I'll call you as soon as I reach LA. Okay, va. People do this every day, ma. It's just 8 days of perfectly simple driving on smooth, decent and civilized roads. And every 10 miles or a motel or diner will be there. Huh? I was in fine spirits. The drive ahead of me, even the loneliness seemed like a lark. Crossing Brooklyn Bridge that morning in the rain, I saw a man leaning against the cables. He seemed to be waiting for a lift. There were spots of fresh rain on his shoulders, and he was carrying a cheap overnight bag in one hand. He was thin, nondescript, with a cap pulled down over his eyes. I would have forgotten him completely, except that just an hour later, while crossing the Pulaski Skyway over the Jersey Flats, I saw him again. At least he looked like the same person. He was standing now with one thumb pointing west. I couldn't figure out how he'd gotten there, but I thought probably one of those fast trucks had picked him up, beaten me to the Skyway and let him off. I did not stop for him. Then, later that night, I saw him again. It was on the new Pennsylvania Turnpike between Harrisburg and Pittsburgh. It's 265 miles long with a very high speed limit. I was just slowing down for one of the tunnels when I saw him, standing under an arc light by the side of the road. I could see him quite distinctly. The bag, the cap, even the spots of the fresh rain spattered over his shoulders. He helloed me this time.
Hello? Hello?
I stepped on the gas like a shot. It's a lonely country through the Alleghenies, and I had no intention of stopping. Besides, the coincidences or whatever it was gave me the chills. I stopped at the next gas station.
Yes, sir?
Fill the tank, please.
Certainly, sir. Check your oil, sir?
Oh, no, thanks.
Nice night, isn't it?
Yes. It hasn't been raining here recently, has it?
Not a drop of rain all week.
Oh. Oh, I suppose that hasn't affected your business?
Oh, people drive through here in all kinds of weather. Mostly business, you know. There aren't many pleasure cars out on the turnpike this season of the year.
I suppose not. What about hitchhikers?
Hitchhikers? Here?
What's the matter? You don't see any.
Not much. If we did, it'd be a sight for sore eyes.
Why?
Oh, the guy'd be a fool who started out to hitch rides on this road. Look at it.
Then, you've never seen anybody.
Nope. Maybe they get the lift before the turnpike starts. I mean, you know, just before the toll house. But then it'd be a mighty long ride. Most cars wouldn't want to pick up a guy for that long a ride. And, you know, this is a pretty lonesome country here. Mountains and woods. You ain't seen anybody like that, have you?
Oh, no. Not at all. It was just a technical question.
Oh, I see. Well, that'll be $15.49 with the tax.
The thing gradually passed through my mind as sheer coincidence. I had a good night's sleep in Pittsburgh, and I didn't think about the man all next day until just outside Zanesville, Ohio. I saw him again. It was a bright sunny afternoon. The peaceful Ohio fields, brown with the autumn stubble, lay dreaming in the golden light. And I was driving slowly, drinking this in, when the road suddenly ended in a detour. In front of the barrier, he was standing. Let me explain his appearance before I go on. I repeat, there was nothing sinister about him. He was as dull as a mud fence, nor was his attitude menacing. He merely stood there, waiting, almost drooping a little, the cheap overnight bag in one hand. He looked as though he'd been waiting there for hours. And he looked up. He hailed me. He started to walk forward.
Hello? Hello?
I had stopped the car, of course, for the detour. For a few minutes, I couldn't seem to find the new road. I realized that he must be thinking that I'd stopped for him.
Hello?
No, just not now. Sorry.
Going to California?
No, not today. The other way. Going to New York. Sorry. After I got the car back on the road again, I felt like a fool. Yet the thought of picking him up, of him sitting beside me, was somehow unbearable. At the same time, I felt more than ever terribly alone. Hour after hour went by. The fields, the towns ticked off one by one. The light changed. I knew now that I was going to see him again. And though I dreaded the sight, I caught myself searching the side of the road, or looking back through the mirror, waiting for him to appear.
Yeah? Well, what is it? What do you want?
Do you sell sandwiches here?
Yeah, we do in the daytime. But we're closed up now for the night.
I know. I was just wondering if I could possibly get a cup of coffee? Black coffee?
Nah, not this time of night, mister. My wife's the cook. She's in bed.
No, don't shut the door, please. Listen, just a minute ago. Just a minute ago, there was a man standing here, right beside the shop. A suspicious-looking man. I don't mean to disturb you. You see, I was driving along when I happened to look, and there he was.
What was he doing?
Well, Nothing. He was just standing there, looking suspicious.
You've been taking a nip. That's what you've been doing. Now, on your way, before I call out Sheriff Oakes.
I got into the car and drove on slowly. I was beginning to hate the car. If I could have found a place just to stop and to rest a little. I was in the Ozark Mountains of Missouri now. The few resort places there were closed. Only an occasional log cabin, seemingly deserted. That's all that broke the monotony of the wild, wooded landscape. I had seen him at that roadside shop. I knew I'd see him again, maybe at the next turn of the road. I knew that when I saw him next, I would run him down. But I did not see him again. I did not see him until late next afternoon. I had stopped the car at a sleepy little junction, just across the border into Oklahoma, to let a train pass by. When he appeared across the tracks, leaning against a telephone pole. A perfectly airless, dry day, the red clay of Oklahoma was baking under the southwestern sun. And yet, there were spots of fresh rain on his shoulders. I couldn't stand that. Without even thinking, blindly I started the car across the tracks. He didn't even look up at me. He was staring at the ground. I stepped on the gas hard, veering the wheel sharply towards him. I could hear the train in the distance now, but I didn't care. Then, something went wrong with the car. It stalled right on the tracks. The train was coming closer. I could hear its bell ringing and the cry of its whistle. Still, he stood there. Now I knew he was beckoning me to my death. Well, I frustrated him that time. The starter worked at last, and I managed to back up. When the train passed, he was gone, and I was all alone in this hot, dry afternoon. After that, I knew I had to do something. I did not know who this man was or what he wanted of me. I only knew that from now on, I should not let myself alone on the road, even for a minute. Hey, hello. Would you like a ride?
Well, what do you think? How far are you going?
Where do you want to go?
Amarillo, Texas.
Okay, I'll drive you there.
Really? Wow! You mind if I take off my shoes? My feet are killing me.
Sure. Go ahead.
Oh, this is so nice. Thank you.
You, hitchhike much?
Sure. I don't always get a ride, though, when I'm out here in the country.
Yeah, I should think it would be hard. Though, I'll bet you get a good pickup in a fast car. And if you did, you could get to places faster than, say, another person in another car, couldn't you?
I'm not following you.
Well, take me for instance. Suppose I'm driving across the country, say at a nice steady pace of about 45 miles an hour? Couldn't a girl like you, just standing beside the side of the road, waiting for a lift, beat me to the next town? Or any town for that matter, provided she got picked up every time in a car, doing 65, 70 miles an hour?
I don't know. What difference does it make?
Oh, no difference really. It's just a crazy idea I had here sitting in the car.
Wow, imagine spending your time in a car like this, thinking of things like that.
What would you do instead?
What would I do? If I was a good-looking fellow like yourself, why, I'd just enjoy myself every minute of the time. I'd sit back and relax. And if I saw a good-looking girl on the side of the road... Hey, look out!
Did you see him too?
See who?
That man standing beside the barbed wire fence.
I didn't see anybody. It was nothing but a bunch of cows and the wire fence.
You didn't see him?
What did you think he was doing? Trying to run into the barbed wire fence?
Well, there was a man there, I tell you. A thin, kind of grey-looking man with an overnight bag in his hand. And I was going to run him down.
Run him down? You mean kill him?
You didn't see him back there? You're sure?
I didn't see a soul. And as far as that's concerned...
Watch for him next time. Keep watching. Keep your eyes peeled on the road. He'll turn up again. Maybe any minute now. There, look there.
How does this door work? I'm getting out of here.
Did you see him now?
No, I didn't see him. And personally, mister, I don't expect never to see him. All I want to do is go on living. I don't see how I will very long driving with you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't... I don't know what came over me. Please don't go.
So, if you'll excuse me...
No, you can't go. Listen, how do you like to go to California? Huh? I'll drive you to California.
Seeing pink elephants all the way? No, thanks. Thanks just the same.
Hold on, please. Just 1 minute. Just listen to me.
You know what I think you need, mister? Not a girlfriend, just a good night's sleep. There, I got it now.
Now don't go. Please.
Leave your hands off of me, do you hear? Leave your hands off of me!
She ran from me, as though I were a monster. I proceeded to wait, though, hoping she would come back. A few minutes later, I saw a passing truck pick her up. I knew then that I was utterly alone. I was in the heart of the great Texas prairies. There wasn't a car on the road after the truck went by. I tried to figure out what to do, how to get a hold of myself. If I could find a place to rest, or if I could just sleep right here in the car for a few hours along the side of the road. I was getting my winter coat out of the back seat to use as blanket when I saw him coming towards me, emerging from the herd of the moving steer.
Hello? Hello?
Maybe I should have spoken to him then, fought it out, then and there, because now he began to be everywhere. Wherever I stopped, even for a moment, for gas, for oil, for a drink of soda, even for a cup of coffee, a sandwich, he was there. I saw him standing outside the auto camp in Amarillo that night when I dared to slow down. He was sitting near the drinking fountain of a little camping spot just inside the border of New Mexico. He was waiting for me outside the Navajo reservation where I stopped to check my tires. I saw him in Albuquerque when I bought 20 gallons of gas. I was afraid to stop now. I began to drive faster and faster. I was in a lunar landscape. The great Mesa County of New Mexico. and I drove through it with the indifference of a fly crawling over the face of the moon. Now, he didn't even wait for me to stop. Unless I drove at 85 miles an hour over those endless roads, he waited for me at every other mile. I'd see his figure, shadowless, just flitting before me, still in that same attitude over the cold, lifeless ground. Flitting over the dried up rivers, flitting in that pure, cloudless air. I was beside myself when I reached Gallup, New Mexico this morning. There's an auto camp here. Cold, almost deserted this time of the year. I went inside and asked if there was a telephone. I had the feeling that if only I could speak to someone familiar, someone I loved, I could pull myself together. It was the middle of the morning. I knew Mother would be home. I pictured her tall and white-haired in a crisp house dress just going about her chores. It would be enough, I thought, just to hear the even calmness of her voice. Hello, Amma?
Mrs. Shanker's residence.
Hello?
This is Mrs. Shanker's residence. Who is it you wish to speak to, please?
What? Who is this?
This is Mrs. Whitney.
Mrs. Whitney? I don't know any Mrs. Whitney. Is this New York 480-6649?
Yes.
Where is my mother? Where is Mrs. Shankar?
Mrs. Shanker is not at home. She's still in the hospital.
The hospital?
Yes. Who is this calling, please? Is it a member of the family?
What is she in the hospital for?
She's been overcome, unable to function for 5 days. Nervous breakdown. But who is this calling?
Nervous breakdown? There was nothing wrong with her. What do you mean nervous?
It's all taken place since the death of her son, Vijay.
Death of her son, Vijay? Hey, what is this? What number is this?
This is New York 480-6649. It's all been very sudden. He was killed just 6 days ago in an automobile accident on the Brooklyn Bridge. Hello? Sir, are you there? Hello?
So I'm sitting here in this deserted auto camp in Gallup, New Mexico. I'm trying to think, trying to get a hold of myself. Otherwise, I'm going to go crazy. It's as if someone has pulled a plug on me. I feel numb. And everything, emotion, feeling, fear has drained out. Outside, it's night. The vast, soulless night of New Mexico. 1 million stars are in the sky. Ahead of me stretch 1,000 miles of empty mesa. Mountains, prairies, desert. And somewhere among them, he's waiting for me. Somewhere I'll find out who he is and who I am.